Hopefully Lil Uzi had people in church this weekend.
Maybe. I think it worked in reverse. Somebody got convicted. Yeah. They were like, you know what? No, I'm not going to hell with you. Sorry. Yeah, back in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. What's good?
All right, this segment is sponsored by Nectar Distribution. So you asked, what is Nectar? Nectar is a music distribution platform through the Trackstarz. It's great because not only is it comparable to CD Baby and TuneCore and all the others out there, but we actually can allow you to join different levels of Nectar. So you can do Plus, where Trackstarz can help you with playlist searches and things of that nature, getting added on the playlist. But you can also do Nectar Elite, which will give you advertisement through Trackstarz platforms. That's over 60 radio stations that we advertise, that we are distributed through, the website, the YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, the podcast, the app. So you'll be all over the Trackstarz social media if that's the route you decide to go. So visit the website, www.nectar.trackstarz.com. Take a look at all the different levels and join us, man. We got a movement going. You need to be a part of it. Let's go.
All right, so what we're going to get into now is the artist Lil Uzi Vert. He said something at a concert recently. I think we saw it on Everyday Struggle. They were talking about it, where he said something to the effect. We can't play it because we don't have time to edit it, but he said something to the effect of, "Hey, we're about to go to hell."
No, he said something
with me.
He said something like, since nobody is floating up to heaven, y'all gonna go to hell with me, or something like of that nature.
Oh yeah,
he's like, y'all are in hell now.
Yeah,
or something like that. So, and everybody, cheering and all that. And what was interesting, that in itself is crazy, right?
Yeah.
But what was interesting to me is how DJ Academics talked about it, and it was something about it that made me go like, wow, it's interesting. People that don't consider themselves, you would never consider them Christian people or whatever, right? They're very sensitive to demonic stuff, though. See what I'm saying? And it almost seems like people have a reverence for spiritual things, but not necessarily a reverence in their actual life.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, as far as what they do with their bodies, what they say, all that kind of stuff. They don't really consider themselves a Christian in that way. But when it comes to, saying something about praising Satan or saying something about, somebody's going to hell, they're like, no, I ain't going to hell. I'm going to heaven. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everybody go to heaven.
And it's interesting. It's interesting that people still have that reaction to that stuff. I just wonder how many people. Do a lot of people believe in this? They just don't believe in it that much? Like, where are we at now?
Honestly, I think a lot of this comes from generational upbringing, right? Yeah. A lot of battlers that have battled Loso, right? They always attack his Christianity. But in some form or another, they always mention that their grandmother was a Christian, or, my grandmother loved Jesus and she ain't here no more, so I'm going to bash him now that she's gone. She can't hear this. Stuff like that. So it's almost kind of like they're giving homage to the people who raised them in the sense of what they believed and what they felt. And so you don't really respect it, but you've heard enough of it to know that's not where you want to go. Like, I don't want to go to hell.
I just wonder, but where are we collectively, spiritually right now, especially in hip hop? It feels like, I'm going to post a clip. A lot of people have already seen it because I was at Essence when Snoop and Pastor, our friend, what's his name? John Gray.
Yeah.
When John Gray was talking to Snoop and he was asking him, hey, is this real for you? Like, do you really love Jesus? Do you this and that? And I want to know what y'all think about his answers. Again, we're not here to judge whether somebody's a Christian or not. I just want to know, like, where are we spiritually as a group of people? Not just a nation, but just in music, since we're kind of circled around hip hop. Where are we? It seems to me that a lot of people, I would assume, believe in God. We may have to pin them down on which one, right? But they believe in God. They have some respect for not wanting to say anything demonic or satanic. Like even people who are
school,
no, I mean just currently the conversation around this.
No,
like that.
I mean I'm just thinking about for the celebrities, like to certain celebrities, old school, maybe a few new, but the younger the rappers, they could care less about God. They on that hell tip, like Satan, like music about the devil. Like it's almost like the spawn of Tyler the Creator. You know how he was, and it's like they just taking that cue from him to be like, you know what I mean?
But even that's confusing. So where are they? Do they believe in Satan?
I'm guessing. I mean,
or are they just playing?
I mean, for some people, it's playing. I know. Okay, for example, I know Tyler the Creator is a atheist. So for him, it's like I don't believe in nothing or whatever. But then also you have people who play around with upside down crosses. You got people who, you know what I mean, talking about
how much
it
of
like
this
that.
is just shock value and like just trying to get attention, and how much of this do you actually believe in this? Because regardless of whether you are afraid of it or you embrace it, where are we? Do we believe in the biblical story or not? I'm a little confused as to where hip hop is. Do you believe in God or not? Do you believe in Jesus or not?
Hip hop is right now it's almost going back to old school 5% Nation. Because I think some of the rappers, like even when I skimmed through Nas' album, he had stuff on there about 5%ers. Talk 5% and talk. So certain people still have that. Even to a point, like when we dissected God's Plan with Drake, you hear it, you think he's talking about God, but in actuality, when you hit a hook, he's talking about himself. Like, you know what I mean? So it's almost like I am God, but I know God exists.
So what you're saying is it's kind of a blend of New Age and Christianity. Is that where hip hop is now? Where it's like they still have a respect. They have a respect for spiritual things, but they don't necessarily believe that God the Father is God. They believe that they might be God, or there are also God, or something like that. It's like a mix.
I think it's a mix. I think people like thank God for, you know, blessing me with this stuff, but I'm a God too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying, a mix of New Age and
they definitely know of God, and they have some level of respect for God if you respect it. You know what I mean? Like if something happened to an artist and everybody's going on, a big artist. I don't say a big artist. I'll say one of the more outside the millennial category artists, like with Aaliyah, right? When something happened to Aaliyah, everybody poured out prayer and support and things of that nature, and I'm praying for the family. I mean, no matter who you are as an artist, you're going to say something kind, you're going to say something nice, right? Yeah. People say what they think other people want to hear. And that's where you go to funerals, right? At a funeral, atheist, non-believer, they might have murdered somebody, they might have died of...
You find the good out of them.
You find the good. And every eulogy is going to talk about them being in a better place. So you almost think that these young kids are growing up and they're going to their grandparents' funerals, they're going to aunts, uncles, all these funerals that they're going to, and they're hearing that your final place should be a good place. Your final resting place should be heaven because the pastor said it. And even if they don't believe it themselves or they don't want to embrace it, that's what the last thing they heard about their grandmother, and that's who they love.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I also saw a pastor. He was at a funeral recently, and he was like a gospel artist / pastor, and he was like, hell don't exist. I don't know why y'all people keep making up imaginary if this is hell right now, like when we're in, and it's hell. Like he was going like he was at the funeral, people were saying that, and I'm guessing, I was like, what did that person do? Because he was trying to make it look like hell is not a destination for them. So it was just like talking about that from that perspective, like hell does not exist. Everybody's saved, and you know everybody going to heaven, like, you know what I mean? So,
is that what he was saying? Because I've heard people say that hell is what we're in right now. Like I've heard non-believers say, I believe in a heaven and a hell, but I believe right now this is heaven or this is hell. Like they believe that what we're living right now has everything to do with final destination. Like,
well, okay, so some people believe when Jesus was talking about gnashing of teeth and all that stuff, that description of hell, that he was talking about something back in the day in Jerusalem where it was like a fire and it was really hot and all this other stuff. But it's still like, but he still talks about hell in other places in the New Testament. So it's not like that was just that fire heap and that was it. So I think that's another theology that's popping up. Remember somebody wanted us to talk about the pastor, the bishop, Carlton Pierce, because he had something on Netflix talking about what's name, because his theology is like it's like everybody's saved. There's no such thing as hell. We've made it up to scare people and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that's where all of this is starting to stem from. But I think going back to Little Uzi Vert, I think a lot of them feel like if God is this terrible in this life, he's making hardship on me, my family, and everything, and the devil came to me or whatever and presented me with this situation or whatever, or from another perspective, like I did this by myself without God, then I don't need God.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out on that side of the equation. Are they being serious? Is this a situation where I don't believe in it at all, so I don't mind embracing something that's not true? Or is this I do think it's true and I am embracing Satan? There's a difference.
Yeah, if
you don't believe in that at all, then you have no
it's
fear
just shock
of
value. Yeah.
But if you do believe in it and you're actually choosing that, that's a whole different situation.
Now, Little Uzi Vert has chilled out with Marilyn Manson.
Okay.
So
I don't know if he believes in it either.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
He was ordained as a Satanist.
Yeah, but if you actually, here's the problem, is that we kind of like say things about people and we don't actually know what they are. The actual Church of Satan, they consider themselves atheists.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we got to get the facts straight. So just because somebody says that, I don't still know if they really believe in Satan. They may just be using that for shock value.
Gotcha.
So I don't know where people are on that. But if you do still have some sort of reverence for God, what I would suggest, and this is just don't worry about what we're saying. Don't worry about what some pastor's saying, whatever. Go read the Bible for yourself. Because a lot of people, I think they're kind of living off of fumes from their childhood. So they know to feel a certain type of way about somebody saying something like that.
Yeah.
So they feel the ping of it not being right.
Yeah.
But they're living off of fumes of the actual what the Bible actually says. So when somebody tells them something that sounds kind of right, like 48 Laws of Power is like, it's close, or The Secret is close, it's not what the Bible actually says.
So
you
maybe,
see what I'm saying?
So maybe hip hop is new age.
Yeah, well, I guess so. But
Maybe,
new age that's an old word. That's an 80s word.
But what I'm saying, new age is like you control your destiny. You can speak it in existence. God is, I'm God. And, you know what I mean? All that. Remember when God, I'm having a brain fart today. Pastor Bell was here, and he was talking about different religions coming out of New Ageism.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like even the 5%ers, this or that, was just New Age. And that's maybe what we're in. Like people are New Age, rappers are in that New Age mentality.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is.
I don't know, but it just shocked me. I think there's a lot of people who are in entertainment or in power positions who they have like a twinge of understanding that this is serious.
Yeah.
Like because academics wasn't playing. Like he was serious. Don't do that. Don't mess around with that. Even though he has as well.
Yeah, I know.
But don't mess around with that. That's wrong.
Yeah.
Right. But nothing else I've seen you do seems to me that you care about anything else the Bible says. Right. So I just wonder, where are we? Are we Christians in hip hop?
Yeah.
Are we 5%ers? Are we Hebrew Israelites? Are we just a mix of just whatever sounds like you respect God in general? I just want to get on the same page. Like it sounds like we're.
Let me tell y'all. Like I told this on a call. I was like, when I used to work at Racetrack, which is like a convenience store, and people would come towards the counter and they give her items, and the items end up 666, and it'd be like the hardest dude that you from the IC would be like, oh no, oh H no, I'm going, no, yo, add these chips, son, go add. They be like, because they was just scared of 666, and then like,
so there's like some knowledge,
Yeah.
and it doesn't seem to me like they're faking it when they say that.
Yeah.
There's a genuine respect or a fear of
Yeah.
that, right? So where is that coming from, and why doesn't it permeate to anything else?
Well, I think it does. I think it also, like I think Ryan said earlier, some people were raised with their grandmother or their mother in church.
So it's more of a fear of what their grandmother told them.
Yeah. So maybe that's what it mostly is.
That's interesting. Yeah. I think this kind of connects back to our first segment. A lot of people are living lives that they were trained to live instead of what they a fresh relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
How much of what you do is not only what you're afraid of other people are going to think, but how much of what you do is tradition. It was kind of built into you instead of it being authentically you.
Yeah.
Because something that somebody trained you to do is not who you actually are.
Or they're a bunch of church kids, like we talked about before.
There's a lot of church kids out there.
Like church
A lot
people,
of church kids.
artists that grew up in church, and they know the right things to say. They know who the people are. They know about. Because think about this: like, how would certain people know who Kirk Franklin is? You know what I mean? Like if I didn't grow up in church, I probably wouldn't know nothing about gospel music. But if you hear gospel music, if somebody asks you, do you know gospel music, the first person they probably going to say is Kirk. You know what I mean? Because you were raised up in that time, especially in the 90s, 2000. He was that guy and still continue to be the guy in gospel.
And I think there's, especially since we're kind of products of Black church, you know?
Yeah.
There's this kind of you're supposed to be religious in a way, but then you kind of do whatever you want when you're not here type trend that's occurring.
Yeah.
I don't want to blame anybody in particular, but there are some people who kind of perpetuate that.
Yeah.
That do radio in Atlanta. That kind of made a career off of that kind of like double-mindedness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I know this is what I'm supposed to be, but this is who I really am.
Yeah.
And just that duality of I'm gonna be like this when I'm in church, but I'm gonna be like this when I'm not. I'm actually thinking of two people now. But that's
I was trying to think what you talking about, but
that's funny.
I know what he's talking about.
You know who I'm talking. He used to work with one of them. It's funny, but I do think it's created a generation of people who are still joking about their faith in God.
Yeah.
It's still a joke. It's still like I kind of believe it, but I'm going to kind of do my own thing.
But you know what else? And another one that a lot of people believe, especially in the entertainment industry, because I read what people say, they think I'm giving money, I'm tithing, God is blessing me because I'm tithing. I've seen that a lot too. Like, I'm giving back, so God is giving back to me.
Yeah, Meek Mill.
Dang, we saying names?
Yeah, no, seriously,
He was like,
when he got into the situation,
yeah.
when he got into the situation with Pastor Jomo, that's the first thing he was like, is like, man, I'm in here in these streets giving out backpacks and I'm giving my money to the community and you telling me I'm not living right and da 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 da. So it's
and I think there's a good reason why that is, because there's problems on both sides of this, right? There's people who are kind of not living the life, but they're doing things that people who say they're living the life don't even do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's an issue there. There's a problem kind of on both sides of this line of not really living it, but kind of still respect it. Sometimes more than the people who are kind of doing the right things, but they lost their passion for God. They lost their reverence of spiritual things. They lost that immediate thing that happens when you think about God. So there's some caution on both sides of this line, but it's just interesting. I'm just watching the reactions to some things, that's happening in culture. Because again, we're trying. This show is not made for Christians that are, already taking class 401 of their church's mission board, whatever. Right. This is for people who are right at that intersection between culture and faith, and trying to help people cross that line a little bit easier into faith, to where they don't feel yelled at, they don't feel berated, they don't feel judged. This is just a welcome, and this is what Christians talk about. It's not spooky. This is how welcome into the community, grow in your relationship with God authentically. That's what we're all about. So we're not going to be talking about that kind of stuff, super deep stuff. We're going to be talking about what people actually care about, and what the reaction to Lil Uzi Vert was very interesting to me. And then, to me, it directly applies to the people we're trying to talk to.
Yeah.
Why do you react that way to that? There's something in there that's calling you. That's what I think. There's something still tugging you. Come on, just come on back. You know the truth. Come on back. Don't who cares what your mama did? Who cares what your daddy did or what they taught you? It's more to it than that. Come on back.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. So hopefully Lil Uzi had people at church this weekend.
Maybe. I think it worked in reverse. Somebody got convicted. Yeah. They were like, you know what? No, I'm not going to hell with you.
Yeah. I'm going
I'm going to get my life right right now.
The hardest thing, like, man, you talk about, son. I ain't going nowhere with you. You on your own, Joe.
Yeah, man, y'all having some great conversations in the chat, man. I'm reading everything and trying to add it in as we go. So appreciate y'all. When we come back, we're going for the first time on YouTube, line for line. So let's see how this goes. All right, you in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tan, and DJ Jeremiah. Leg up.
Hey guys, Miracle here. Thank you so much for watching that episode. Make sure you go below, like it, subscribe, click the bell, and make sure you follow us on all forms of our social media. Also, check out our website and be sure you spread the word. We'll see you next time.
We know not what we doing. Screw that, they know, let them have it, do it. Okay, I'm erratic, prove it. Never mind, got a mind that'll wind up with me in a lineup behind bars with these bars. Okay, my time's up.
Team Freedom.
Yeah.
We not through yet.
All right.
Trackstarz Music presents.
Turn my volume up, turn me off.